Of all the animes I've watched, no other series has moved me as much as Violet Evergarden. I may have strong ties to certain series because of nostalgia and overall enjoyment, but in terms of impact, from the story to the visual animation, music, voice acting, and sheer emotion in each moment and detail, it all led me to see Violet Evergarden as a true masterpiece. It starts with a young Violet, following in the steps of Major Gilbert during a time of war and conflict. Each step quiet and unassuming, Violet becomes drawn to a brooch that reminds her of his eyes. And when she tells him out loud, the look on his face, one of pain and seemingly regret, goes beyond Violet's current comprehension, but what she does know is that this emerald jewel evokes a feeling within her that she can't explain, but knows it's there. And through each episode, we follow her journey as she tries to understand the various meanings of I love you. It's detailed scenes like this where Kyoto Animation and the storytelling, coupled with the beautiful music, really shine. And this is only the very beginning. Fast forward to after the Great War, we learn that Violet is as diligent as ever and resolute in her communications out to Major Gilbert regardless of him being declared as missing in action. I'll talk about Major Gilbert's role a little later in this video, but this first glimpse of Violet writing a letter, which subsequently floats its way into the main town, is such a nice transition and opening that it's like a foreshadowing of Violet herself becoming an auto-memory doll whose responsibility is to travel anywhere and under various circumstances in order to transcribe and deliver letters between loved ones or acquaintances, many of which ultimately touch the lives of those same people across the continent. However, at the start, Violet has a hard time trying to understand social norms and etiquette as she begins training as a doll. Although we know there is something brewing within her, a tension waiting to be unstrung due to her dark past, she comes across as very emotionless, direct, and appears to have no will of her own. As someone who was viewed as a weapon and used as a tool during the war, it's no surprise that her ability to adjust was stunted and her self-awareness lacking. She's likened to a doll, but as she undergoes training and begins to develop relationships with the people around her, we slowly see her trying to understand the emotional meaning within each scenario and encounter. While some episodes can stand alone and are mere instances in Violet's journey, they all weave together and allude to something broader. Like a doll object, Violet was a blank slate. Her world revolved around everything but herself, as she never had a chance to even figure out who she was or what her purpose might even be. Her identity always being shaped for her since she was an abandoned child with no name and forced to join the military thereafter. However, where we understand there to be a glimmer of change is through Major Gilbert. Despite being told to take advantage of her remarkable combat skills on the battlefield, he opts to also teach her how to speak, read, and write, to become more than what others saw her as, more than what she was conditioned to see herself as. He humanized her by giving her the name Violet, and after their tragic separation during the final battle to end the war, he arranges for her to be under the care of the Evergarden family, to which she adopts the last name. There's something really amazing knowing Violet's origins, or what little we do know about her, to then see her taking that name and what she learned through Major Gilbert into this next life, not as an object, but as a doll proper. An auto-memory doll. It was not a perfect transition, since it seems like she still saw herself as a tool, a doll that just did literal transcriptions of what a client was saying and typed them on paper, nothing more than an extension of the typewriter. While yes, Some use the auto memory doll service because they can't write. The main focus for this series, at least, is on those who are looking to effectively express their emotions through letters. And so through this, Violet's growth is gradual in her understanding of what people are really trying to say, but can't, and leads her closer to realizing why Major Gilbert told her, "I love you." But Violet's improvements are not without their own relapses. As we learn of each client's story, she's forced to think of her involvement within the war and how she may have prevented letters and messages from being delivered to their intended recipient. It's so conflicting when before she was trained to kill soldiers without thinking twice, to now attempting to save one in order to deliver his last words to his loved ones. That knot within her, though, while agonizing, is still a sign of growth. This change in perspective is her realizing that she's not as unfeeling as she thought herself to be. Each painful story she hears, to which she has to recount in letters, breaks down this indifferent facade. So much so that she thinks this world will be better off without her, but fails to go through with it, because there's actually something that she could do for those alive now. And it's exactly what she's been doing, helping clients process their emotions by listening to their stories, crafting heartfelt letters with them, and sending them off to wherever they needed to go. While the past can't be erased, there's certainly something that she can do about things moving forward. Future letters to be written that could brighten someone's day or change someone's life. I think part of what is so intrinsically beautiful about the Violet Evergarden series is that Major Gilbert, while mixed with guilt at ever having a part in her violent upbringing, did help provide a guiding light in Violet's world, where she only knew what she saw in front of her and not what was within her. That there was something beyond the war that awaited, and he only wished that she would experience it for herself, free from the constraint of following orders. That she was capable of feeling, of having emotions, whether it be grief or happiness, and that she could lead her own life without someone else dictating it for her. While fully capable on her own, Violet finding this strength as a result of all that is so amazing that she comes to see the value in life and a life with others, and that pain can be shared, but so could love. Seeing how I was able to write this dedicated video essay goes to show how not only is Violet Evergarden my all-time favorite anime series, Violet herself is also my most favorite character. Her genuine curiosity to heartfelt dedication as an auto memory doll just spoke to me so well as she strives to decipher the emotional complexity of others and her own. In relation to the story as a whole, the author of Violet Evergarden, Kana Akatsuki, and Kyoto Animation did a beautiful job of portraying this girl who seemingly had no future, with not even a name to call her own, as she tries to find herself through various lived experiences, whether that's acknowledging her past and attempting to come to terms with it, conversing with others about their feelings in the hope that it'll shed some light in her gaps of understanding, the sheer perseverance in knowing that her only option was to grow if she were to ever get to the heart of what Major Gilbert means to her. The person who offered her a new sense on life and simply gave her the opportunity to be more than what others expected of her. And so for me, while I have no issue with how the series ultimately ended, speaking in reference to the final movie, because I did really love it as well, I also was very content with how the anime series wrapped up. Because her quest is ongoing, as of course there's more letters to write and more people awaiting her arrival. So this series has come to mean so much to me, and I hope I was able to share a little bit of why I love Violet Evergarden so much. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video. Take care.